Hello, Nancy Christensen here. Today I would like to talk about finding our why and telling you my story about how I found my why and how that's been so life-changing for me. As a girl and a young adult, I was actually pretty self-aware and clear about my strengths and my capabilities. And my dad told me that I was smart, I was strong, and I could do whatever I wanted if I put my mind to it. And somehow I believed him. And I was confident about my life. But as an adult, I lost focus of this. I lost sight of that clarity and that strength. And somehow I got off the path. And specifically, I didn't know how to be a strong woman with a big call on my life and this focused purpose. I began to lose my voice. I began to lose my purpose in my life. I was depressed clinically, and my mental health was not good. So a series of circumstances happened, like the end of my 20-year marriage. I lived alone for the first time in my life. I lost my mother. I was grieving her. I went from a stay-at-home mom to working full-time for the first time in like 20 years. And I was taking a commuter train downtown to a high-rise law firm that had marble floors and glass walls. It was very high-end. And that whole time, that whole season of my life, I was so depressed and extremely tired. I was trying to fix everything, and I was just like a salmon swimming upstream. I didn't know how to fix any of it. And during that time, I would come home from work and have a glass of wine to relax, and it just really helped me to relax. But that kind of turned into something else. Many of you know my story as you've been listening to my videos, but it came to that I was having a glass of wine every night. And I began to like strategize and be compulsive about the next time I was going to be able to relax with a glass of wine. Well, you hear where it's going, and you know my story. I realized that I had a problem with my glasses of wine at night. And it wasn't until I admitted that to myself. And I started to go to Alcoholics Anonymous and went to meetings faithfully. I went to a lot of meetings. And that was kind of the turning point of my life when I started to admit that I didn't have the answers. So all of the answers that I thought I had to the problems in the world, let alone my life, they didn't work. I mean, I was literally breaking under the stress of trying to fix everything, to fix the circumstances, fix the people in my life, fix myself. I couldn't fix anything. And it wasn't until I started being humble and admitting that I didn't have those answers. It wasn't until that happened that slowly and faithfully God began to take me by the hand and gently and methodically start showing me how to walk in principles that were rebuilding and reshaping my life. Now, I will say that those steps that I took along the way I didn't necessarily know if there was even going to be ground under my foot when I took my next step. But I knew that God was leading me. And it reminds me of that scene in the Raiders of the Lost Ark where it's called the leap of faith, I think, that part of the movie, where has to cross this cavernous canyon, and he throws dirt out and realizes that there's a bridge that he can just walk across, but it looks the same as the canyon floor, so he can't see it. So it reminded me of that. Like, there were so many times in my life during that time, the years that this took of this rebuilding, where I had to step out in what seemed to be risky things, and God just led me through them. And so I'm sharing all of this with you today to to just talk about that journey, to talk about how God can change our lives from circumstances we find ourselves in. And when we can surrender and wait for Him to direct us rather than trying to fix it ourselves, that's when things can start changing. So today, the changes that have happened in my life in the last even 5 years, I graduated from coaching school. I got certified from a global recognized governing body called the International Coach Federation. So I'm a certified life coach now. I have over 350 hours of coaching clients. So there's this like strong credibility that I have in my life, and a important skill that I have to literally help other people who are struggling with similar and different things in their lives. I was able to buy a house by myself. I own a home. I'm sitting in this home that I bought by myself. I own a car that's paid for. And it's kind of ironic that I'm recording this video for you today because literally Friday of last week was my last day full-time at that amazing engineering firm and with people that I love. The company is great. It was my last day. It was my last day that I worked full-time, and next week I'm going part-time there. But I'm more excited about that I'm going to have more time to work on my true calling, my passion that I have, that God's placed in my heart, this burning vision to be able to help Christian women who are dealing with divorce challenges in their life. So finding that why is so key, that motivation that keeps us going when it gets hard and gives us the guts to keep moving in the face of it all and going for our best self and finding that purpose that is more fulfilling than anything we know. So you'll probably be hearing more from me about this exciting stuff that God's doing in my life. But my prayer is that you find the same thing for you, because there's nothing better than living this big, amazing, abundant life that God wants for us to live. God bless you this week.